we're just going to show up and trust. And so we have to get in a space of allowing ourselves to practice ourselves into the ability to trust, the ability to know that whatever is needed for the space within the moment will be given. So we're just going to surrender. We're going to scrap all of this stuff. We have no structure. We're just going to show up, greet each other, have a little chat, and then move ourselves into the space of opening up to be conduits for that transmission to flow through.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good advice. And it took me a while myself to to learn how or remember how to surrender. And
Yeah.
yeah, because things were just like, I mean, I wanted so much. I had all these visions about what I wanted to do, all these, to create, and things just kept getting in the way, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and I'd say, when am I going to get there? When am I going to get there? When am I going to get there? And I heard Saint Germain's voice in my ear one time when I was saying that in my mind, like there is a there, and he said, don't be so quick to dismiss the journey, because the journey is the destination.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then I just, and after that I just laid on my bed and just spread, my arms and everything, and said, I surrender. Show me
Mm-hmm.
what show me where you want me to go,
Yeah.
what I need to do. Just show me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was scary, but it was also life changing.
Yeah, that's what I think this life is. At least for me, it's been a process of trusting and
Yeah.
surrendering and trusting. I feel like many things have happened over the course of my life that have brought me to this point, and all of those things were like trust falls, like literal trust falls. I was telling my husband this the other day that I realized that many things happened in my life that could have been exit points, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
like opportunities to check out. And I told him I was going back through a lot of the events that really stand out. And I realized all of those were exit points. They were like exit points. It's like you can choose to trust or leave. Like that was like it was two choices: trust or leave, trust or leave. And I always surrendered and trusted the voice without question. I never questioned
Yeah.
the voice that I was receiving. I always trusted, and that propelled me to the next space and the next space and the next space. And what I realized in hindsight is that all of that was put in place and elaborately, meticulously, and perfectly designed by the soul essence of us to bring us to a space now where we trust without question, and we can surrender without question. Just know that everything is working out for our good, because we've trusted to the point where we realize that that voice has only good intentions for us, only the best intentions,
Mm-hmm.
for us. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So true. Definitely.
yeah.
Going back to changing our names, this thought came to me. I remember when I first started waking up, that type of thing. And my sister, my family was like, okay, what's going on with her? This is after my NDE, my head injury. What's going on with her? Why is she acting so crazy and all this?
Yeah.
And my sister, who I'm really close to, uh, I would tell her about what's going on with me. And she goes, okay, so you're going through this spiritual awakening. Okay, but you're not going to change your name, are you? I said, no, no, I'm not going to change. And I did. So, and if you notice, there's a lot of people that do. Once you start shifting, you just align, you remember certain names,
Mm-hmm.
monikers, and that you align with
Yeah.
better for this type of work or this type of
Yeah.
where you're at.
Yeah. There's a guy, I heard him speak, and I cannot recall his name, but I saw him speak on Open Minds with Regina Meredith, and this was an older show, like a way older show. He's like the only person I've ever heard speak to names and the frequency that a name can hold, and how you
Mm-hmm.
align with different frequencies at different times in your life. So he mentioned having been born, and he never felt like he was his name. He never felt like he was in alignment with his name, but having shifted and changed his name, did his life shift? And so he started to have success where he was having difficulty before. Things started to proceed with ease because he attributed it back to that name and the frequency that that name held, and it was more in alignment with the him that he knew himself to
Mm-hmm.
be. So on some level, that plays to a certain degree. He's the only person I've ever heard speak to your name and the frequency, that alignment, that resonance that you feel holds true with you. You know, if you ask many people, do you feel like your name is suitable to you?
Right.
Is your name in alignment with the you that you are? I've asked a lot of people that, and many people say if they had to choose a name for themselves, they wouldn't have chosen the name that was given to them. They would have pick something else. So it just speaks to the power of that. You know, the sound frequency plays a certain role to a certain degree, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. In everything, in words, names. I mean, even animals. I've
Yeah.
noticed working with animals, it's if people have trouble with an animal, they, maybe they named it Stormy, or which isn't a bad name, but it still holds a frequency of
It does.
some, of storm and chaos kind of thing, or, different names if you call an animal a name that's not flattering or something.
Yeah.
That animal, I mean, it picks up the frequency of that name. Of course,
Yeah.
everything's individual, but I've noticed that with people who have animals, and I suggest, maybe you could slowly change their name a little bit to,
Yeah.
to something more high vibrational, something that is more positive sound, has a positive frequency rather than whatever the name
Yeah.
depicts, whatever frequency
That
it has.
is funny. That is funny because I have a cat. And when we first adopted him, we decided to name him Anthony. And we called him Anthony for the longest time. And eventually, when I first got him, my son was really afraid of him because he has, you know, cats have nails, and he was had that whole thing. So it took them a while to get warmed up to one another. But when they warmed up, it's like now Anthony is his cat. It's my son's cat. That's how close they are. Like, like my son is his person
Yeah.
of everybody in the house, right? And so one day I was listening to them, and my son started to call him Bubba. And I said, "Why are you calling him Bubba?" And he would play, tease him and play around with him, and he would just say Bubba, and he would laugh, and it would just be this whole big thing. And eventually, that was the name that stuck. He started calling him Bubba, and I said, "Why are you calling him Bubba?" He said, "Because that's the name he likes. That's that's the name he likes. He really doesn't like Anthony. He connects with Bubba, and it makes him feel happy when I say Bubba. I mean, it just carries
Nice.
this vibration for him that he just prefers. And so now we all pretty much call him Bubba. Like that's hilarious, but that's absolutely valid.
I
Yeah,
love that. I love that.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it makes so much sense. And connecting with animals have always told me their name. I ask them,
yeah,
if strays come to me or I adopt an animal or whatever. I've had lots of animals, and I always ask them, well, in my later years, I should say,
yeah,
uh, okay, tell me your name. And
yeah,
yeah, I'll never forget this one stray cat showed up, and he was kind of feral, big cat, hadn't been fixed, probably about a year and a half old, and tough cat. And when we finally got him to to be able to trust us, I asked him his name and he told me it was Bruno.
Oh.
Like a tough kid.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
was. So
Yeah.
that,
Wow.
um, in my language, that's what he was telling me his name is. So I've gotten in the habit of asking animals their
Yeah.
names, as long as they're
Yeah.
not already named when I get them. But anyway, yeah, it's so true that
Yeah.
names, words have frequency, all kinds
Yes.
of words, especially names.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, even saying the name Jesus or Yeshua sounds, it just feels better to me than the name Jesus to me.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I fully align with that. Billy Carson speaks to that as well, the name
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
and how that is an homage to Zeus, right? Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
but
Jesus,
many
that's
people
right.
don't know. Yeah, because many people don't know that there's the full term is Hail Zeus is what the Jesus moniker stands for, right? That's what that means.
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. I
yeah. Many
knew that
people
it
don't
had
know
been
that.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But Yeshua is the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeshua is his name. Yeah.
That's his given name when
Yes.
Yeshua ben Yosef. Yeah. Because there's not, if I know correctly, there's no hard J in the Hebrew language.
Yeah.
The J is like a Y. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no hard J, like
Yeah.
Jesus, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
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 But
Interesting.
that Hail Zeus, I remember him kind of talking about that I saw, I think on his one of his videos, which okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just feels better. And so with Sananda Kumara, did you can you share a little bit about how you okay, so your inner guidance
Mm-hmm.
told you about Sananda Kumara, the that name, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you work with your a collective.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have experience with Sananda Kumara individually?
Individually, no, it came through as Sanat Kumara. That's who came
Sanat.
through. Yeah.
Sanat.
That's who
Okay.
came through. Yeah. That's who came through for me. And then I started to go down the rabbit hole of discovery on that whole lineage, that whole line. So that's kind of how I
Hmm.
got really connected with that space. Because before I didn't even know the name. I wasn't,
Yeah.
I didn't even know the name. So I just went asking questions of my guidance, them pointing me to different resources, and then it just kind of opened up from there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it happened for me too, with the name Sananda Kumara. And when he came through to me on when Yeshua did, he came through to me as Christ. And
Yeah.
I'm, oh, you mean the Christ consciousness and all that? And he said, and he's like, well, and
Yeah.
I couldn't believe him. I didn't trust that it was
Mm,
actually Yeshua. Okay?
yeah.
I didn't trust that, which is crazy because I had an NDE with him, but
Mm,
I still needed to get past the not feeling worthy of his presence in my life right there
yeah.
because
Ah,
we all deal with that. So yeah, the
interesting.
Sananda Kumar, I was blown away when I saw in my vision, in my meditation, he showed me a vision of him, or I was clear enough to where I got it. And then it hit
Yeah.
me, oh, that's who you are.
Yeah.
And I got Sananda Kumara. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. I think that's just how it goes though. You kind of open up to these energies, open up to these frequencies, and they
Right.
just welcome you, right? They just welcome you. And for me, it was I didn't have that issue of not trusting because when it comes through and my guidance responds like it's so aligned, I don't ever have a doubt in that space. I know it's being given for a reason. So at that point, it's kind of just open up to what might I discover about this thing? What else can I unpack to align my logical mind with this awareness you kind of dropped in my lap type of thing, because I know that
Yeah.
at some level it serves. So yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome. What advice do you have for people watching that are going through that trust issue? How, how to trust your
Test
guidance?
it. Test it.
I know it's a
Test it out.
process, but yeah.
It is a process, but ultimately test it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a verse in the Bible that says taste and see. Well, I take that and make it personal and say, whatever you tell me, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to try it out to some degree and see how it really plays. See if it plays the way that you have said that it would play, right? I play with it in that way. I make it very literal. I take them very literally, and I go out and try it for myself. So I would say for somebody who's struggling with trust, number one, surrender to the fact that you have guidance, and there's a team. Like you aren't a sole person in this physical incarnation. There are a team of souls. You just happen to be the representative boots on the ground for your team. So you have a team of many who are all around you all the time, willing and available to assist as you have need. So allow yourself to know that, right? And then test them out and say, ask for things or ask to be shown things, and then be willing to be sensitive to the prompting or the response, because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't always come with a bang, right? It doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
come with a big bang. Sometimes it's very, very subtle. It's very, very subtle. And surrendering to that and not allowing your, let's say, I won't say not allowing, but practicing yourself out of rationalizing the response, because it's
Yeah.
that humanness, that logical mind that can get in the way and cause you to distrust. But typically, if you ask something, your guidance responds right away, because when you ask, it is given without question, right? When you ask, it is given. When you have an inquiry and you ask, it's known immediately. So you hear people say all the time, trust your first mind, because literally that's probably always your guidance responding to you right away. But many times we're conditioned to um, talk ourselves out of it or rationalize it
Right.
from a logical perspective. But the spiritual realm, the unseen realms, are not logical. Right? They don't necessarily align with, especially not human logic. They don't typically align at all. You literally have to go on blind faith and allow yourself to practice that till until you get to a point where you can trust it without question. So I just recommend trying it out, surrendering in that space, allow yourself to know it from a logical perspective that there is guidance available, and then trying it out on a bit by bit, incremental basis.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. And you find, I'm sure that the more you ask and trust, the more synchronicities show up for you. And yeah, and I'm always getting the universe, our guidance, our higher self, all of the above is constantly giving us signs, constantly, all the time, giving us
yeah,
signs and synchronicities and messages and things like that. And then we only notice, maybe about that much of what they're communicating to us and giving us to help with our trust.
yeah. But the more you trust it, the more you do it, the more your confidence
Exactly.
builds. So let's
Yeah.
say like this. This is a great example. When I first started I do a show on YouTube called the Quantum Light Connection. And
Mm,
this is a dialogue, a light language transmission. And my co-host and I, we do a dialogue together. We do a light language dialogue.
nice.
When we first started, we had all these preconceived notions about, we need to set up the space, we need to open the space, we need to do a dedicated prayer. We had all this structure in place. And we did the first couple of shows, and it felt so restrictive. Like it felt so stoic, it felt so programmed, it felt so rehearsed and inauthentic is what it felt like, right? It
Mm.
didn't feel like us just being fully present in the moment. And so one of the shows, I was like, you know what, forget all this stuff. We're just going to show up and trust. And so we have to get in a space of allowing ourselves to practice ourselves into the ability to trust, the ability to know that whatever is needed for the space within the moment will be given. So we're just going to surrender. We're going to scrap all of this stuff. We have no structure. We're just going to show up, greet each other, have a little chat, and then move ourselves into the space of opening up to be conduits for that transmission to flow through. And it's evolved exponentially since the very first show. Like when we get
Nice.
together now, it's off the charts. It's literally off the charts, and it's different every time. And I feel like every time we get on, the energy expands, the frequency is raising, elevating every time we come together and meet. So it's something to be said for just showing up. And I know that's a scary thing to start out, but as you do it, you gain more and more confidence in operating in that way. And I'm one of those who is all about ripping the band-aid. like, like I'm not doing it slow. You rip the band-aid so you can move on into the space. You can shift on into the space. And so rip the band-aid, feel the fear, but settle within the present and know that what you need will be given. And as you trust that, you just move into a space of confidence. And then you eventually move back into your knowing so
Mm.
that you are fully open within a space to give what is needed for
Yeah.
whatever moment that presents. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And one thing you said that really hit home with me was showing up.
Yeah.
That's something we intend sometimes. We intend it, we make our intention out there, but then we let life get in the way, right? I know
Yeah.
that during my quickening, the reason I was able to shift so quickly is because I was in my room. I made a commitment with Yeshua every night at 9 p.m. and my guides to be there in meditation. And in my classroom, we did
Mhm.
classroom work in my room, 9 p.m. every night.
Yeah.
And I was there and I experienced so much amazing, I mean, just crazy, 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 beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And so I showed up, and that is huge. I find and feel for with guidance is when we do show up with them and make that commitment.
Yeah. Showing up for yourself. You showing up.
Totally.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Showing up for yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's all
Beautiful.
about that
Yeah.
because if you can't show up for yourself, you can't show up for anybody else. You got to do it for you first, right?
So true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was committed. And so Sanat, I worked with him a little bit that I remember. I mean, I know I worked with him a long time ago, 20 years ago, and I probably worked with him more, but just didn't recognize him as Sanat because I'm always with Yeshua.
Yeah.
Uh, can you describe him to me?
Okay. So planetary consciousness, who came down, he was instrumental in assisting the Lemurians when they came on planet to move into a space of, um, let's say, embodying their spiritual nature and doing all the things they did as part of that civilization. He was heavily connected to Venus, and so
Hmm.
really working heavily with the energies of love and compassion, all of the similar things, same things that Sananda was working working with,
Hmm.
all of those things. And so yeah, just the planetary consciousness who came to assist is what I can tell you.
Yeah.
um as
Yeah.
far as more than that, I feel like it's just a bigness.
Right.
I don't have the words to fully encompass all of that, but it's just, what do I want to say? I'm getting that connectedness to the wise serpents, the wise serpents. So teacher of the wise serpents, those who came to embody the wisdom keepers, the ones who were instrumental in assisting humanity into coming into alignment with the awareness that we now hold. So the teacher of the teachers, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? Yeah, yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. When I was working with him 20 years ago or so, I was dreaming about snakes a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So can you relate to that?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had this vision once of, snakes are a big thing and snakes,
I love snakes.
always have, I know, like my mom would always have this fear, like you dealing with snakes and snakes represent the devil and all this kind of stuff. Well, no, they don't. Snakes represent the wisdom and the
Hmm.
transition and transformation and all of those things. And so I've had many of those dreams. And I have one that sticks out of me picking up a snake and placing it in my first eye. I call this the first eye. So putting that snake in the first eye and then having it turn around in my head and peer out. So it was like a seer
Nice.
positioning itself here in my first eye, which was, I don't know why that stands out though, for whatever reason.
Well, there's some in ancient Egypt, wasn't there some
Oh, the
headbands with
Uraeus.
the,
Yeah, the
yeah, with the
Uraeus.
snake.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just had
It's
that vision where you were describing it. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And so
that's
they
cool.
would they would marry that. They would marry that with a vulture. So you would typically see a vulture and a snake, and that comprises the uraeus, and that really embodies ascended wisdom, like the feathered serpent, ascended wisdom, the ascended self. You walk it in your ascended beingness. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I don't remember when I worked with Sanat actually seeing him in my inner vision like I did Sananda. But again, I felt just like or like you said that there was this huge energy which I knew was Sanat.
Yeah.
And I one experience, out of body experience, stands out to me when he was there with me. I could hear his voice, but I couldn't see him. And he told me
Mm.
he was Sanat. And I was at the base of a pyramid, and it was a test or something. I needed to shift some way somehow. And I was going around the pyramid, and he was instructing me to find whatever he had I needed to find for whatever it was I needed to find it. I don't remember, it was a
Okay.
long time ago.
Okay.
And there was a golden key there that I found, and he kind of guided me toward it.
Hmm.
And at the time, it was a really profound experience. There's a lot more to it. And he was there with me, and that was pretty cool, guiding
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I have fond memories of Sanat for sure.
Nice.
Definitely. Well, so what is the name of your YouTube channel, Indona?
It's my name. It's Andena Sananda Kumara, and if you
Okay.
want to access it, it's YouTube/at Andona Sananda Kumara. That's how you get there. And so,
Okay. And I will definitely put all your details down in the your description,
okay,
wherever that goes.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So people can get a hold of you. Do you do you do sessions, private
I
sessions? You
do.
teach classes? Okay, good.
I
Good.
do. I do private and or group sessions. I do most of my work is done through the light language. So I call it the somatic language of divine frequency because I feel like it
Mm,
encompasses or embodies more than just the light. It's because we are more than just light. We are the balance, the harmonically balanced light and dark, masculine and the feminine together. That's what oneness is, right? So it speaks to the all of that. So most of it's done in that way. And I say it all the time, my sessions are not the same. So you kind of show up and we go through whatever you need for the moment. And my guidance gets with your guidance. Like we all get together. There's this conference that happens up here, and whatever is necessary. Well, I'm just the conduit in the moment to allow it to come through. So it can come through as an activation, as a transmission. It can come through as through song. It can come through as just the movement of frequency, or it can come through me responding to questions or inquiries that you may have. It comes through in whatever way is needed within the moment. So I call myself a quantum energy alchemist because I
mm,
feel like what I do is it is so vast. It's not just one thing. And I feel like if I said quantum energy alchemist, that speaks to all of it. That speaks to the totality of what I do from a multidimensional perspective. The quantum speaks to that. And then just the way we all are here to move. and work with, what do I want to say, manipulate, use energy. That's all that happens through this vessel, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that. That's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah. When you shift, as you are shifting, and I've
yeah,
shifted, and people shift into those places, you start to see things energetically.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's when, to me anyway, reality makes sense.
Right. Well, I think you can see, you have better ability to see it for what it really is, right? When you
Right.
allow yourself to step back from a lot of things. If everything is energy, then there are no victims. What am I
Yeah.
doing to draw this experience to me? And what is this experience here to show me about me, right? Because
Hmm.
ultimately we're all projecting our own experience. So whatever it is, it's showing you something about yourself. And so things shifted for me exponentially when I really got that. And then it was like playing a video game almost, where you can observe life. You're part of life, you're participating in life, but you're also the observer,
Yeah.
observing everything that's being shown to you. So then you can utilize that and say, okay, I don't like this thing that's happening. What can I shift? What do I need to shift? What am I holding within myself? What limiting belief is putting me in resonance with this thing that I don't want to experience? And then you have the power within yourself, as the deliberate creator that you are, to change that, to see from a different perspective. Because typically most of the things that we hold are things that have been ingrained in us from the time that we were children. We don't even know that we are holding that particular belief that would put us in resonance with something that we don't want to experience. So then when you do that, as the observer, when you come into realization of that thing, then you can adjust your perspective. You can clarify that perspective for yourself. And in the acknowledgement, does it shift? And your world changes. And so it's like you step into a completely new world the next time you encounter those things. And so utilizing that awareness of life itself being the mirror to the self, like really getting that and using that, you propel yourself into new planes of being. Like you kind of step
Yes.
into alignment with what you want to experience, and then life becomes magical, and you can open up to even more of the vastness that exists, and kind of really get really start to fine tune your ability to manifest in the way that you desire to manifest for yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Yes. So true. And that's what Yeshua came to the planet to teach us and show
Yeah,
us, help us remember. Yeah.
yes,
In his words, that's exactly what he came to help us remember.
yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andona, my dear. Thank you so much for being
Well,
here
thank
and
you.
talking with me again. Let's do this again if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always up for a chat.
Good.
I'm always
Good.
up for a chat. So thank you
Good.
for having me. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience before we close off?
Mm, yeah, so we'll do a quick transmission to kind of just
Sure.
close this space.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you. Yes.
awesome. Asiara, take a deep breath and center yourself within the space of the heart. Aretunde eshandrave osandama uara sendrave ometunde eshatruka ainia sotre ad ve arusave onde ashandrave amute asiatroka sotre andu kai indesia vo or di arasiandrave ometu inisiandraka du de asanda ve ad usinda arutema ushandragai itsindrago ve arusandage oshandrave andunde amat Vaa rasiandrave osiondrave adund, mia rotande ashotreat. Isad, vaad, isarushandrave otand umera. Vuris kadanda, mirasut. Fiarate kai en desarute ashand. De ad, virunde ashotrave otanda, mirut isin ashond. Variand, variand, ishan, ashe. Birisa drave o shandrave atundama at isant. Veriam ashe.
Oh,
Ah,
ooh,
wow.
beautiful. Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Lots of love and gratitude for the opportunity to share within this space, and for everybody who might have the opportunity to come and hear this wonderful chat that we just had, and all the nuggets that was shared therein.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching from my heart to yours. Thank you, Andona. And don't forget to do that YouTube stuff. And we'll see you next time.